Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So this week was my birthday. I'm gonna let you guys guess my age. I'm not gonna say how old I turn. I mean, it doesn't even matter. But yeah, I was quite reflective on this year because the last year I should say, because I've learned a lot over the last year. Um, I'm somebody that I've been on the personal development journey for either 8 or 9 years now, and I think it's this year is gonna make maybe 9. And over the last year, and especially the last few months, it's a lot of the things that I was learning over the last few years started to integrate, meaning everything started to click, everything was making sense, and for me, knowing where I've come from to where I'm at now and my outlook on life and the new goals that I have for myself, I'm really proud of where I've come and how far I've come, because I can vividly see the difference between me now and where I was before, you know. So while thinking about this, first thing that like came to mind was trauma. And for me, that word, for the longest while, that word meant absolutely nothing to me. How the word trauma, I would say I had an idea of the definition, what it meant, but still not really what it meant and the impact that it had on me. And 2 years ago, 2019, I got a real sense of what the word trauma means and how it was playing out in my life, you know. I realized that there's certain things that I learned through my upbringing that wasn't serving me. I was traumatized by quite a lot of different things, and after realizing that, I actually went into a spell of depression. And it's not like depression where you assume that the person is just in this dark place, they don't walk, they don't do anything. It's I guess it's like a functional depression, and I didn't even realize that it was depression until after the fact. So I was going through it, I was super stressed, constantly in my head, and I've always been in my head, I'm still in my head, but not as not from the same place. And yeah, I used to take these long walks after work because everything just felt like a lot, and I was just constantly thinking about my upbringing and my outlook on life and how my upbringing, from what I understand of it now in terms of trauma, how it was negatively impacting me. And I started to get resentful towards my parents, my grandmother, and this kind of stuff. It because I felt this is what's holding me back, you know. Because the trauma creates your outlook on life, and I was this makes so much sense. This is why I'm looking at things this way, this is why I'm doing this is what I'm doing. And I didn't just accept it, I realized it, and I just kept playing my childhood, the unfortunate things that happened to me, are things that were said to me that I didn't like, and I just kept replaying them in my mind, replaying them in my mind. And when you replay them in your mind, it's like you're living the circumstance or the situation over in the present moment. And I just kept constantly doing that. Now, the thing with trauma is that the trauma creates our outlook on life, it creates our habits, and this is like what I would call the default, or anybody, somebody else that's aware of this stuff may call this our default programming, right? And it's from these experiences, this creates the way we live, like in every circumstance, the way we respond to certain things. And there's certain things that you're more sensitive with versus other things you might not be as sensitive. And from the trauma, you go through your entire life showing up a particular way, and you may think that you are being you, this is who you are, but it's not. This is a result of the unresolved conflict and experiences that you have in your mind. So it's like the trauma creates this protective mechanisms, because it's more than one thing. And whenever you're faced with situations that feels triggering, you will respond in a way that is going to protect you, but the way that will protect you may not be a healthy way. So meaning that the way somebody else experiences you, it won't be, it might not be in a healthy way, because you're just trying to avoid more pain. And sometimes you could do anything to avoid the pain that you felt in the past. And from a conscious place, like, you don't even have a recollection of this. Like, this is just happening on the subconscious level, and you're thinking that you are controlling the outcome. So like when you're making excuses to not go ahead and do something, you think that the excuses are legitimate. This is not coming from your conscious, this is coming from a subconscious place, because your body, your mind, like all these things work together, and they have a memory of that traumatic experience or traumatic experiences that you had in the past, and wants to protect you from going through those painful experiences again. So I've been on this journey for the last 2 years, and I've learned so much. And recently, like, a lot of it, like I said, started to come together. One of the things that has really helped me is mindset. So understanding how now, so from the experiences, understanding the impacts that it has on your mind, and how you have to consciously now do the opposite of what feels natural to you. And all of this stuff takes time. Like, I've been looking at a lot of YouTube videos, reading books about this stuff. If you guys need any references, feel free to reach out to me, and I can send you some references around things that help me. And when it comes to mindset, I'd say, like, one of the biggest things that I learned was, like, so our thoughts, because before we act, we think, right? And our thoughts become our actions become our habits, and our habits become our lifestyle, right? And what that means is that in order for you to get a different outcome, you have to control your thoughts, right? And that's where mindset comes into place, because think about it, it's your mindset, meaning that how you consistently think are your outlook on things, which is generated from your mind, right? And for me, I know that I have thoughts that are from my upbringing. So it's like, if I think about something and I'm like, I have to question it then. Is that true? Is that accurate? You know? And I'll be like, no, it's not. And then I have to consciously think about what I want to experience, the outcome I want to have, which is basically the same thing, you know? You have to constantly think about where you want to go, what you want to experience, rather than your fears and what you don't want to experience. Because it's like, we can start a conversation, right? We're in this conversation, and I'm sure you're guilty of this, because I'm super guilty of it as well. Like, you can point out all the negatives in a situation and don't consciously point out the positives of the situation. So the way you would like it to go, or even like whatever, even if it has nothing to do with you, just have a positive outlook on that situation, you know? And a lot of this is from our program. Now, changing your mindset doesn't happen overnight, because you won't program in one day, you know? Like, your program, like, you are still being programmed right now. This is from your childhood straight up until you have this, I guess, this awareness, this awakening or whatever, that forces you to look at things differently and change, or want to change your life. And when it comes to changing your mindset, like I said, it takes time, because you're gonna automatically do the same things that you were doing for however amount of years or months or whatever. Like, you're just gonna continuously do those things over and over in a pattern. So when it comes to changing your mindset, you have to give yourself grace, because it's gonna take time. First, you have to be aware. Then you have to accept, because you have to accept that, hey, the things that I'm doing are wrong. And then you take action. And then you look at the action and you determine, like, hey, is this giving me the results that I want to have? Will this give me the result that I want to have? And then you just keep repeating it, and gradually, you don't want to try to do like a million things at the same time. Like, just like start with something small. Like, look at, let's say, your outlook at work, your job or something like that. Look at how you're showing up, and look at your thoughts, the way you think about your job. Start thinking about your job, or try to start thinking about your job in a more positive manner, and see what you think about it, and then create new thoughts around it, and do that each time that you realize that you're thinking about it negatively, until like eventually you realize that, like, I like going to work, I feel good at my job, like, my boss is great, like, he gives me references or resources that I can use to make my job easier, or help me so I can move faster, or whatever it is, you know. That's one way to approach it. And I'm not no guru or anything like that. I'm just sharing my life experiences with you guys. So this is like just from the top of my head right now. The next thing that I've reflected on over the last few months, standards. So I thought that I had standards, right? But I was definitely, and don't get me wrong, obviously everybody have standards, right? But it's like, I can see how I was confusing standards with morals. So I'm the type of person like I try my best to like be considerate of others, help people, and just be a nice type of person, I guess, right? Be nice, be kind, or whatever. And all of that is cool. Do the right thing, but that's morals. I think there's no. I think there is definitely a difference when it comes to standards, and the standards to me is your outlook on yourself and how you want that to be reflected in the world. So what I realized about myself was like I wasn't thinking too much about like how I show up in the world being authentic to myself. It's like I just show up. like just showing up is good enough, but in actuality just showing up isn't good enough, because it's like you have to think about where you want to be and who is this person that, or how does the person that you think you are, how does that person show up in the world, right? So for me, a big part of that has been cleanliness, like making up my bed first thing in the morning. Like right now I keep my bed like super immaculate. Like I make it up, I have the duvet, throw pillows, throw blanket and stuff like that, and like make it look like really good at a high standard, almost like basically like a hotel standard. I keep everything around me clean, my computer screen clean. That used to be super dirty. Like I don't even know why. Like, but yeah, it wasn't as clean as it is now, but now it's like super clean. Mirrors, my floor, and like everything, bathroom, I always keep the bathroom clean, keep the floor clean, sweep it, mop it. I keep a minimal amount of things around me, and to me like this is a reflection of who I want to be and how I want to show up in the world. Like this is my standard. Like if I bring someone over, like I don't have to be like now I have to clean this, I put away this, I tidy up this. No, like my shit is always tidy, always clean, and that's important to me because like I said, that's how I want to show up in the world. Dressing, I've completely changed the way that I dress, and it's funny because the clothes that I'm now wearing, I always had these clothes, I just won't wear them, you know, which was interesting. I was always fascinated with fashion, I like fashion and stuff like that, and I have the outfits and I just won't wear them, which is super interesting. So now I'm wearing them, and it's like a reflection of me. It's all about the standards, it's all about reflecting to the world what I think about myself. And like we all love ourselves, and we need to show that, we need to reflect that. We can reflect the love that we have on the inside, on the outside. The next thing is like my weight. I haven't been on a scale, I don't weigh, but like I have pictures and stuff like that. Like I can see how my body has transitioned so much. Like I don't know how much weight I've lost. I could guess that it's anywhere between 20 to 30 pounds because I could see, you know. I even like my abs are showing, like, and all of this is because I've changed my standards. Like I'm like, this is the standard, this is where I want to live. Like this is how I'm gonna treat myself, this is what I'm gonna reflect into the world, because this is how I feel about myself, you know. And it's important because people will treat you the way that you treat yourself. Always remember that. People are gonna treat you the way that you treat yourself. I'm showing people the way that I want to be treated, and let me tell you, it's like it's night and day. Like back home in the Caribbean, a lot of people know me through music and stuff like that, and like they show me the respect because they like that, you produce music, you're doing something that you're passionate about, whatever. But now here in the UK, where nobody knows me, and I've changed my standards, and I show up in a way that I want to be treated, like people treat you that way. Like, they're like, hey, good afternoon, sir, how are you? And people in the UK don't even say good afternoon or whatever. But like, when you show up a particular way, they just, I don't know what it is, but people just respond to you differently, and that's been my experience so far. And I'm glad that from the changes I can see, like, the outer world is reflecting my inner world, and it just, like, for me, it just says, like, you're on the right path, you're doing the right thing. Next thing that I was reflecting on is the importance of habits. So I want to tie habits with trauma, because with the trauma you will develop bad habits that don't serve you. A lot of the habits will try to protect you opposed to help you grow. I mean, in some cases they can definitely help you grow as well, because trauma isn't all just a bad thing. You can take your trauma and leave it fuel you. I mean, I think that's what it's doing for me right now. Like, I'm allowing it to fuel me opposed to protect me and protect myself from experiencing more negative experiences that make me feel like I felt in the past. So when it comes to habits, your habits dictate your life, your lifestyle, your experiences, everything. Because if you are a person that drinks every single day, you don't walk out, you have a regular diet or whatever, like, these habits are gonna compound. So it's like, it's not only what you're doing now, but what you're doing now is gonna have a impact on your future as well too. So bad habits is gonna more than likely create an unwanted future, whereas when you have good habits are gonna create the future that you want. So I'll use the same example of somebody that doesn't use a lot of sugary drinks, eat a lot of fatty food or unhealthy food. They walk out instead of, like, just chilling at home, never going to the gym and having a bad diet and stuff like that. 5, 10, 15 years from now, if these two people continue down the same path, the person with the bad habits more than likely is going to have a ton of health problems down the road, and the person with the good habits more than likely, not saying that they can't have any health challenges, they can have, but the chances are it's going to be less severe than the person that has all these bad habits, right? The thing about habits though, in terms of habit farming is challenging. Like, you can't change all your habits at once. You can just focus on one or two max probably, and you keep doing this thing, whatever it is, because it's repetition, right? So it's like, you don't get rid of old habits, you create new habits. So meaning it's like you introduce new habits. So it's like kind of like replacing, right? Like, you get rid of this one, you take this one out, because it's still there, it's not going to go anywhere. Because if you stop doing the new habit, the old habit is going to just sneak right back into there. But yeah, habits. What you want to do with your habits is you want to focus on one or two things and repetition. Don't worry about doing it every single day. You want to start small. Like they say, the journey of 1,000 miles or 1,000 steps, start with 1 mile, 1 step. And that's what you want to do. You want to, if let's say your goal is to work out more often and make it part of your routine, you could say, this week I'm gonna go to the gym 2 times. I'm only gonna go to the gym 2 times. And even if you reach to the gym 1 time, give yourself a pat on the back, because that's better than not going at all. Then your immediate goal after that would be to go the 2 times that you said you're gonna go. You go those 2 times, you hit that, give yourself a pat on the back. Then the next week, same thing, keep going. Then the next week, let's say you're doing it now a month consistently, and then you get up to 3 times a week, and you're like, oh, okay, I could do this, because now you're getting used to it, because you still have to give your mind time to adjust to the new changes that are taking place. So it's like, if you try to incorporate everything at the same time, so like you just went from never going to the gym to trying to go to the gym 5 times a week, you're gonna just psych yourself out, because it's like, this is hard, like it's just gonna be super overwhelming. So you don't have to take that approach, you know. You just want to be consistent and just gradually progress into it, one day at a time, one day 1 week, 1 month, and then by the end of the year, you're a person that walks out. Like, you consistently go to the gym 2-3 times a week, every week, and that's now a part of your identity and who you are, you know. Habits, super important, because like I said, your habits compound, you know, and the sum of your habits will dictate your life in the present and your life in the future. So habits, for me, that was something that I realized is like extremely important, and I can see how my new habits are having a positive impact on my life experience. So next thing that I reflected on was detachment. Now, detachment is so important for me, and detachment can go into so many different verticals. You don't want to be attached to outcomes, you don't want to be attached to things, you don't want to be attached to people. What I realized about myself is that I was attaching to people. I was hoping, like, and it's weird because although I will be in good spirits on my own and I'm on my journey and whatever, I was still attaching myself to people and their energies and their mood. So it's like, if someone was in a bad mood, they could put me in a bad mood. If they respond a particular way, I could end up responding a particular way, which is unnecessary, because in every moment we should be focusing on ourselves and our own energy, our own focus. I know that's easier said than done, but it's very possible. It's really about understanding the importance of it and accepting it and then taking action. So I'll go down the route of relationships, because I think that in a relationship, attachment is probably it's probably the hardest thing to break when you're in a romantic relationship. And I've seen now where my level of attachment created issues in relationships I were in the past, because attachment also makes you try to control. You're trying to control circumstances, you're trying to control the other person. But if you if you allow people to be themselves, allow circumstances to unfold the way they'll unfold, and you just focus on yourself, you'll find that it's so much easier so much easier for you to have a good experience with the other person, because rather than trying to focus on your mood plus their mood, you just got to focus on your own mood. It's hard enough to focus on your own mood, so imagine trying to focus on somebody else's mood and whatever they could be going through as well too, which you can't control, because everybody is going through their own things. Everybody has their own challenges and stuff like that, and you can only control yourself. Like, you're only responsible for yourself. And when you control your emotions and you allow yourself to, even if it's not like like you're in this positive, bubbly, happy state, but you're at least neutral. It's like, at least you don't negatively impact that other person. Because the thing is, like, I think most people probably don't detach. We all would be dependent on somebody else's energy to maintain ours to an extent. So like when we reference I like that person vibe, we say we like that person vibe because their energy or their mood, the mood that they're in, allows us to maintain our mood, or it uplifts our mood, you know. So when you only focus on yourself, what you'd be doing is you'd be creating the vibe, the energy that you like in somebody else. You'd be creating it for yourself and actually for that other person as well too, which raises their vibration. Because when they're in their funk or whatever, like, you won't be meeting them where they're at. You would be basically inviting them to meet you where you're at. You know, it's like they reference, this might be a bad analogy, but they reference when somebody else's house is burning, like, you throw water on yours, right? But that makes sense, because if that person's house is burning, you don't do anything about your house, then your chances are the two houses could burn together. But if you throw water on your house before trying to attend to their needs and their issues, you increase the likelihood of saving both of y'all, because your house is going to be fine. Your house is going to be fine, and you're going to be able from this place to assist them in whatever, well, save them from their burning house, I guess. But I wonder if that was the best analogy. I'm not sure about that one, but hopefully you got the gist of what I was saying. So yeah, detachment for me is super important, and I think that I'm realizing that being detached from outcomes, detached from people in their situation, allows me to be free, like, allows me to just have the experience without any expectations and just dwell in my own energy, which is, my energy is like very calm. I'm a very calm person. I do get a little energetic and wild and crazy sometimes, but for the most part I'm like quite chill, and like I'm cool with that. I'm satisfied with that. Yeah, so detachment for me is super important. Alright, so the last thing that I want to talk about that I've been reflecting on and I see the importance of is gratitude. Gratitude. In many cases we aspire and we have these big goals, hoping that when we attain these goals, that the goal is gonna make us feel satisfied, right? But the truth is, we don't have to attain anything to feel good where we are right now. I mean, we have life Like, what more do you want? Once you have life, you have opportunities. Like, are you grateful that you are alive? Are you grateful that you had a meal this morning? There's some people that they're not fed every day. They are not fed sometimes within a week. You know, they don't know when the next meal is gonna come. And some of us, like, we are fed like as often as we want to be fed. Like as often as we want to get food, we grab food. It's easy to do, and we take these things for granted. We just think like that's just the way it is, but that's not actually just the way it is. And that's just one reference. But like, I'm looking into this camera. I'm grateful that I was able to afford this camera, because this camera allows me to record and share with you guys, and I'm happy sharing with you guys. It gives me deep satisfaction to like share these thoughts, because I think that we're all on a very similar journey. We have different experiences that teach us very similar lessons, and all of us can learn from each other. So I don't mind like sharing, because I'm hoping that through my experiences, my lessons, I could help somebody in their journey and maybe help them to avoid some of the pitfalls and the mistakes that I've made, you know. Gratitude. So yeah, when it comes to gratitude, it's like going back to our aspirations and even materialism, trying to acquire things. Like, we're trying to acquire things that to create feelings that are inside of us. Like, every single feeling that you would like to experience resides in you. You could only feel it after you obtain something, because it's already inside of you. But instead of waiting to experience that feeling, what if you can look at the simplest of things and just say, oh, I am grateful for this. I am grateful for that, Lord. I am grateful that I have a roof over my head. I am grateful that I have this shirt on my body. I'm grateful that I have a job. I'm grateful for my kids. Like, you don't need anything outside of you to be satisfied or fulfilled from within, you know. I'm thinking, because like literally all of this is just like from the top of my head. Yeah, gratitude is really important. I've learned to make peace with the things that I thought were hindering me. Like, when we go back to the trauma, gratitude has taught me that, you know, my parents, my grandparents, everybody around me that were raising me, like, everybody was trying their best, you know. And I appreciate that everybody was trying their best, because all of us are always trying our best at every stage in life. We're like trying our best until we have better information that allows us to do better. But until then, like, we're doing the best we can, you know. And I can see through gratitude how, yeah, my parents were doing the best that they could with me, and I'm thankful, you know. The things that were hindering me, I realized like it wasn't the act of that, it was my thoughts, it was me bringing it up, constantly dwelling on it and stuff like that. Because I have a choice. I can either dwell on the past experience that occurred, or I can accept that it occurred and say, okay, now how do I become better? What can I do so that never happens to me again? Like, so, but from a positive place and not like from a place of fear or insecurity, you know? I think I want to stop here because this is my first time like being so vulnerable on here and like talking about these topics, and I don't know, I hope that I executed on this. I hope that I executed on this as well as I would have liked to. Hopefully I did. When I look at the replay, I guess I'll figure that out. But this video was important to me because I'm looking forward to my future. I'm looking forward to the things that I'm gonna do from here on out. And I want you guys to keep me accountable as well too. I'm gonna keep myself accountable, but it's also good to like have somebody, hey, like, you're supposed to be doing this, you're not doing it, blah 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 blah, whatever, you know. But yeah, looking forward to what's next. Over the last few months, like, so much things have changed for me, like just by understanding these things that I've shared with you, the importance of these lessons that I've been learning and that I've accepted recently. So much has changed, like so much has changed. I think I have a list because I want to show you guys like how quick things could change in your life. So in the last 6 months, I've been able to lose weight, change my physique completely, change my diet. Like, my diet is like so freaking clean, like it surprises me because it's just about my commitment to myself and like doing it because this is what I want. It's not perfect. I still like have like little cheat meals on the weekend, but you know, that's just part of the process. Maybe I'll reach to the point where I'm not doing any cheat meals at all, but like my meals right now is so different. I'm on like cauliflower rice, I'm eating plantain, sweet potato, what else, zucchini, spaghetti instead of like spaghetti, chicken, fish, and right now just a lot of fish like mackerel and salmon, so like rich in oils and stuff like that. Lots of veg. Like, this is a whole new person. I don't even know this person is yet, but yeah, like completely different. Raise my standards. So in some of my posts, I guess you'd see like I dress differently. I'm at peace, like way more at peace with myself. I'm super grateful. Like we said, the gratitude. Bought a new car, that was super dope. Started this YouTube channel. Like, this YouTube channel is something that I wanted to do like maybe for like forever, probably like 7-8 years, but I'm here now. I've grown a brotherhood up here in the UK, have some really good guys that I can reach out to, speak to them about anything. Have a guy from back home that's like my dupes, my bro, and we have a really like good relationship as well too, and just grateful for all this stuff because like the conversations that I'm having, like these are conversations that are like super important to me. It allows me to be free, it allows me to grow, it allows me to be reflective. Like, it's just exactly what I needed. And I've compartmentalized my life. Like, that's something that I'm super proud of, because I feel like for my life right now, everything is in the bucket that it's supposed to be in. Like, everything just makes so much sense, and I'm super excited about that. I'm not overwhelmed by things like how I used to, because like everything was kind of clumped together and you trying to make everything happen at the same time. But no, like I understand exactly where things are and the type of action that I need to take to create the results that I want to get. And yeah, I'm just here in this experience being a student of life, I guess. Yeah, so that's it. That's it. Let's see how this looks in the replay. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you reached to the end of this video, wow, thank you. Let me know that you reached to the end of this video and let me know your thoughts around this video. Alright, peace.